So 1 year ago, you and I were at Buffer Festival. You helped. You were there. I mean, you were in spirit. We had done Better You, our first short film. Watch it now on youtube.com/Brizzy. But we wanted to come back in a year with something that was like bigger, badder, longer. So it started with burritos, literally burritos.
Heck yeah.
Well, at Cactus Taco, and I gave you guys a PowerPoint.
Bunch of like deviant art sort of
mystical. Reddit.com/r/imaginary fantasy worlds. And there was a treatment. I mean, there was a treatment too, and there was characters and there was names and stuff like that. But I think like what I had originally said was like I wanted to do like a movie about a fantasy land that you enter through your dreams. Mm-hmm. And immediately you were like, you know that I'm like obsessed with dreams, right? And you just like fantasy, so you're on board.
I like dreams too.
Okay, well.
I like it all.
Like you and I met through Quidditch, and obviously you and I have bonded a lot through Lord of the Rings and other things. So I think that like the idea, for me at least in that initial phase, was like how do we channel all that stuff that we like and turn it into a movie? And I think there was also a lot of discussion of like, well, if we could like check off a lot of things on our like end of career list, like what are those things and how do we put them into a short that no one is paying for?
Yep.
I can name 3 people that paid for
it. We wanted Dreamstone to be like big, adventurous, and positive. Like that was the goal from the outset.
Then we had a bunch of like writing meetings.
Right? A lot of it, months of it.
Yeah.
Like we spent more time like talking about like even there was stuff like there was like a car chase in the movie at one point. Mm-hmm. For like a long time there was a car chase in the movie.
We spent like at least half of the span of working on this movie doing just the writing.
Yeah, just talking about it, and I think that there was even like a lot of discussion about like what the message was and like what was the point and well there was a lot of things that came and went and even things that came and stayed into production and then we dropped. Like Maelstrom was supposed to have like a knife hand until literally the set that day when we were like we don't know how to do the knife hand. So there was
me sending Anna a picture of my hand wrapped up with a knife attached.
And then there was writing, and there was a lot of different drafts of the script, and there was a lot of like us talking about it, a lot of bringing people like Sam Vest and Don Vera. So then it came down to casting. So obviously you were a given; you already had the job. Alice's role was something that was in from pretty much the beginning. Like there was always going to be a roommate, and it felt like you and Tessa were a pretty like natural fit.
I feel like we were imagining her as Alice
pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah, pretty much from writing her.
And like with Lear, Tim was actually the person that I wrote the role for.
Right.
I mean, we both were big fans of Tim from podcast Fantasy Fiction and his improv group, The Lusty Horde, that we've gone and seen. We brought you to go see The Lusty Horde. And to get a sense of him.
Tim's audition was basically that improv show for me.
yeah. And then when it came to Maelstrom, we spent like a lot of time not knowing who that was going to be. Yeah. And there was a lot of maybes and a lot of like, well, is it going to be...
She was like the only character that we didn't have like any idea of from the beginning.
From the beginning. Well, and there was even points where it was like, well, is this going to be a boy? Do we know a boy that would really nail the role or something like that? Was it after shooting? It was like we had just done something. We were hanging out.
I think someone else had just said no or like had a tricky schedule, and Anna was kind of like scrolling through her phone, and then she was like, "Wait a second, Ray Delisle do it?" Oh.
It just so happens that physically she's just like exactly what we needed.
Yeah. And then, like, you texted her, and pretty much immediately she had said yes.
Yeah, before I got home that night.
Which was crazy, which was, like, in our wildest dreams. So then, like, once we had a cast, we had to do a bunch of costuming, because we, like, fantasy, obviously costumes were super important, and for the most part, we had zero idea where costumes were coming from. We tried going to a few costume stores, too, and, like, it totally didn't work out. We just weren't fully happy with what we were finding there. So Heather Traska did some amazing designs for us, some concepts. We had a few desires. We knew that like Heidi, we wanted to be like Ray inspired, kind of like early fantasy, like
level 1.
Level 1 fantasy,
Kind of like level 1 Link.
And then with Lear, it was like maybe a little bit more earthy, more of like a druid. And then with Maelstrom, I remember Maegan said like devastatingly beautiful or something like that. Something like that like really like shaped through it.
It's great, it's beautiful.
But eventually we got all of those made and
we got Katie to do Heidi's and Lear's, and then I think like the week of my friend David
maybe like
just
6
happened
or 7
to
days.
he lives in Florida, but my friend David just happened to let me know that he was gonna be in town that week and asked if we wanted to work on something. And I was like, I need a costumer.
Yeah. Maegan and I did a little bit of solo like location scouting. There was a lot of photos, and that was like a good excuse for me to get out and use the drone and get all of those shots. We're done like way before we shot. And then it kind of came down to like preparing, and there was a lot of like physical preparation. We had like you and I and Tessa did a rehearsal, and then we had Joe Moses, Tessa's boyfriend / fight coordinator. We came into here where we shot it, and we walked through all the fighting, because a lot of that was like written, but we needed to figure it out. We needed to like specify and block it out and stuff like that. So at this point, we're talking like months of preparation, like months and months of preparation and writing and putting things together. But the fun begins with shooting. Action.
So something nice about having so much time to prepare for the shoot and work on it and different days of shooting was that we could rehearse everything very thoroughly. Even when Anna like wasn't on set yet or she was getting ready, like Ryan would be rehearsing like on behalf of her.
Mm-hmm. Doing like all the effects in the movie night, it takes like a lot. Like obviously Gray is not literally disappearing, but what that looks like is like us like doing the bit and then Anna staying still and Gray like getting up and like walking away.
I mean, despite having, 7 months that we worked on it or something, obviously some stuff still went wrong.
And now here are just some bloopers.
Sorry, okay.
I've been a guardian of your lineage since I've been alive. Sorry. I found you. Oh, God.
Fine. Right here, if you land there.
Much more quickly.
I'm dead.
Camera. Close your eyes real quick.
Someone was coming for me when I wake up!
What? What? No.
Keep telling yourself that.
Is that it?
Yeah, do you want to...
Good luck!
This movie really represents like such a group effort from like Cam and Justin and Dom and Kenny and everyone that helped out. And we really couldn't have done it without them. And I think that like one of my primary goals, but also one of my primary takeaways with like making this movie was that like how like the value of collaboration, right? Like the value of like throwing it to the room and even something as much as like right before we started shooting, I kind of like Dom and I got lunch and I was like, dude, I think I wrote the worst movie in the world. And he was like, listen, like, you know, like, and it was so valuable to have like you guys as sounding boards and to have, this was still like just as small as a production as you can make it. Like I was doing sound almost the entire thing, but like everyone that came on added their own thing, and I think that was really important to me, and I know it was really important to you guys too. Cut.
Camera cuts.
That's a goddamn rap on Dreamstone. It started at Bufferfest last year with wanting to come back, and that's what we're doing this year. Yeah, so this is Dreamstone.
Oh, Canada, my home and native land. Wow!
What I took away from Bufferfest was like this really great sense of community. Because like even like we were just saying that like we enjoyed collaborating so much and learned so much from working with like a bigger spectrum of people. Like everyone's film at Bufferfest was like this great like crossover.
With any video or any film or anything, like spend so much time at a computer, like so singular, like so in your face. You know, like shooting is fun, but shooting was like 6 days of the like 100 days I was sitting on a computer editing or writing or something like that. So to go and to have that like rewarded out in public and have all these people like being able to celebrate and dress and getting dressed up and all that was great. Scripts in the bio. If you're a person that likes scripts and that likes filmmaking, you can read it. I wrote it, and you can read it maybe after you watch the movie, maybe before. I mean, wait. If you're watching this, if you're at this point, you've already seen the movie. Read the script. The script is in. It's down.
Yep.
That was Dreamstone. I mean, this was the BTS of it, but that was it. Like we said, we set out to like do something that was kind of in the wake or chasing a lot of our inspirations and a lot of the things that we wanted to put out into the world, and hopefully you dug it. Maybe it inspired you to make your own thing. And
I think when we set out to make Dreamstone, it was something that, I mean, we all love fantasy and adventure, and for me, I feel like it's just, the world's kind of a dark place, and there's a lot of bad things happening, and to make something where it's like, you know, there's a glimmer of hope, it's nice to escape.
Fantasy can be a really daunting genre because it usually requires a really good budget and really specific skills as far as effects and all of that jazz. So I feel like Dreamstone is good for showing that you can make it happen, even if it's like self-funded very, 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 very cheaply.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of things we wish we could have done with it.
Yeah.
And would like to expand upon if we had the resources, but
wink, wink.
it's possible to, you know, make a little taste of something on
Yeah.
a budget.
I mean, I hope that people really do understand that, like, there was no money. Like, we bought sandwiches for people, and like all of the, like, I learned After Effects to do this movie. Like, all of the effects were mine, and so it really is that idea of that, like, you know, we say it in the movie, like, your dreams are what you make them, you know, like. And I am glad that we were able to say that, and I'm glad that it's out there, and I'm so excited for us to have told this story.
Yay!
It's also gonna be a book and a card game, so
Yay!
That's it.
That's all.
That's how the
Watch the
cookie
movie again.
crumbles.
Watch the movie again.
Go watch it
Yeah.
again with all
Tell
that
your
in mind.
friend. Tell your friend.
Yeah.
Do the hit. Yeah.
You know what I need to do is I need to make sure all of my buttons are done. For the Better You one, I have one button undone. It haunted me while I edited. I kind of told myself, I was like, it's fine,
Right,
whatever.
you should do this.
To this day,
It's 3:30.
people fucking comment on the video.
One person has commented.
No, people pull them up.